Today I'm going to be talking about a O-1A Mandamus case that was just approved. And the reason why it's so special is because the client was from one of the countries listed on the travel ban. And as you guys know, there was a nationwide benefits pause. And so for our client, she was just extended her O-1. It was supposed to be a routine filing, but since USCIS issued this benefits pause, her case has been on hold since January 2026. And so her only way to get this approved was to file a mandamus. Now, we're lucky to say that there was a federal ruling that also helped us to get this mandamus approved, but I can't wait to share all the details. Backstory on our client. She's been here for 20 years in the US. She did all of her schooling in the US. She has her bachelor's, master's, PhD. She studied in biotech and bioscience pharmaceuticals. She got hired by a leading global biopharmaceutical company, and she's been working as a PhD researcher on an O-1 visa. And she did so without ever violating her status. She doesn't have a criminal record. She's what we would call an ideal candidate, someone we would expect a routine O-1 filing to go very smoothly. And so she filed her O-1A extension back in fall 2025 because her status expires in February, and they didn't expect anything of it. It's something they've always done. And lo and behold, there was a national policy that was issued January 2026. So in response to the USCIS benefits hold, the law firm that prepared this case filed her case with premium processing. And within 15 days, she got an RFE asking and stating that she was subject to the country-specific policy, saying that because she was a national of Myanmar, it was considered a significant negative factor. And so now she had to prove documents and evidence to overcome this negative factor, showing that she's likely to be a public charge. Now, mind you, she makes 6 figures. She's been working in a professional job, working for one of the top, 10 companies in her industry. And so she had a lot of documents to show her ties to the US, showing the nature of her work and why it's of national interest, that it should be subject to the exception of this policy, showing that she has a lot of financial support and means, so that she's very highly unlikely not to be a public charge. Her and her attorneys prepared this packet, submitted it to USCIS, and after the 50 business days period had passed, she still hadn't heard back on her case. And when she inquired on what was going on, she was just told that the case was on administrative hold without any further information. And I know there's a lot of people out there like her that filed their cases with premium processing only to have their cases on hold. They never got a refund. It was just kind of in limbo. And that's when she found us. And we helped prepare a mandamus case. And at the time, there were some individual cases that were being successful. We thought she was she was a good candidate for the mandamus because her case had been pending for at least 6 months. And at the time, and the nature of her work, we could show that it's of national interest. She has no immigration violations. She doesn't fall into any of the categories that are of high risk. And so we prepared her case very quickly. And it was just happened to be that right before we filed the complaint with the district court, there was another ruling that was issued, and that was the Dorcas ruling in Rhode Island. And there, the district judge vacated 4 USCIS policies, including the benefits adjudication hold policy, the country-specific factors policy, the global asylum hold policy, and also the comprehensive rate review. So we call those arbitrary and capricious, and those have been struck down as of June 5th, 2026. So we were really lucky. We filed the complaint about a week later, and in 2 weeks, her O-1 case was approved. When you're filing a mandamus, you're also filing a mandamus and APA lawsuit. So it depends on if the case is just outside normal processing times. That's something that we would argue, saying, hey, based on what Congress thought, that this application should only take X amount of days or X amount of months, and USCIS has been pending outside of that. We also look at normal processing times. When we filed this specific O-1 mandamus case, we also looked at the factors, right? The track factors, and try to argue why USCIS should adjudicate this case and why we thought the hold was arbitrary. And so with the impact of the Dorcas ruling. We know that a lot of clients are now excited to see, hey, is my case, what's happening to my case? Am I going to see any movement on my case? Well, what we heard at AILA conference is that with the lift, it's great, but now there's a huge backlog of cases going back, not just from January 2026, but all the cases that were on hold, that were filed maybe 6 months in advance or even a year or years before, that were all placed on hold. This is apparently the biggest hold of cases in USCIS history. So the question is now, how is the agency going to go about going through this entire backlog while also simultaneously processing cases that are being filed with premium processing that they're legally required to respond to? So I guess some ways to address this, if you are in a case category that allows for premium processing, and if you haven't tried it yet, now is the time to file for premium processing. Or on the flip side, if you did file for premium processing and yet your case was still on hold, now is the time to contact premium processing office and let them know, hey, is the clock still running? When will I hear back from my case? Because you did pay, and if you didn't get a refund, technically your case is still should be under the 15 business days or the 45 business days or whatever, 30 business days, whatever the window of time that is required for USCIS to respond to your case. So try that avenue first. If you filed a case that doesn't have a premium processing option, right? So you have a 45 or an M400, certain 765s, then you can also try filing a case inquiry and say, hey, my case is out of normal processing times. Can I get a case update? Now, your response might be your case is on hold or your case is being processed. They can't say hold anymore. They might just say your case is being processed, right? It's just taking a little bit more time, but it doesn't hurt to file that inquiry so you have proof that you've been reaching out. You can contact your local Congress member, your local senator, the ombudsman office, and see if you can file an inquiry that way. I'm sure they're being flooded, so I wouldn't recommend doing all of them at the same time. I would do one at a time just to build your record to show that you've been doing it in good faith. And then the third option, just like I said, on our client, our O-1 client, is to file a mandamus. When you file an individual lawsuit and you can show that your case has been pending, especially if it's been pending for about 6 months or so. And again, that time frame, it kind of depends on the benefits that you're applying for and the processing times. So definitely recommend talking to an attorney about your specific case. But if your case has been pending, it's outstanding, and you haven't heard back, filing an individual mandamus lawsuit is one of the most effective ways to hear back on your case and to get your case approved. So if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. We're happy to do a consultation and help you with your case.